everybody, welcome to the Empressive channel. There are a few things I want to talk about in this video. Since it's Friday, I want to talk about some new music. Now, Megan Thee Stallion recently dropped her new single with Dua Lipa called Sweetest Pie. And I actually like the song. I think the song is pretty catchy and I could definitely see it doing well in streams and on pop radio. If it's marketed right, it can definitely be a pop hit. And I know Dua Lipa's fans are going to eat this song up. So I think it was actually a smart collaboration and I think the single will do well. My only critique is with the content. I do wish Megan would switch things up with her lyrical content because we kind of hear the same thing from her. We all know that Megan can rap, but I definitely want her to switch it up sometimes. But I do appreciate the fact that she's showing that she is versatile enough to carry a pop song. And I want to briefly give a shout out to the singer and songwriter Nija Charles because she was the one who wrote the hook for the song. And one thing about Nija is she knows how to pin a hit. I mean, she doesn't miss at all. And if you wanted to listen to some of her other music, she does have a project out called Don't Say I Didn't Warn You. So check that out as well. Support Nija because she really is a talented artist. But back to Megan and Dua's song Sweetest Pie. What did I think about the song? I thought the song was good. I liked it. I think it's a hit. Now, as far as the video is concerned, the video was definitely unexpected for me. I didn't expect the video to have such a dark, creepy theme. It was giving me Hansel and Gretel vibes, but the adult version of it. Megan and Dua basically lured these two men from the woods into their house and they fattened them up with sweets and seduced them. But when the men found out these women were trying to destroy them, they tried to run, and all the men who were trapped under Dua and Megan's spell tried to revolt against them and punish them for what they did, but Megan and Dua destroyed them all in the end. So that's basically the whole gist of the video. It's about Megan and Dua Lipa tempting men and leading them to their destruction. Take that symbolism how you will. I mean, the Illuminati vibes were heavy in the video, but the song was cute. The song was cute. I thought the dancing was cute too. I think Megan did this whole sequence where she was winding, and she actually was inspired by this dancer named Royal G. So this is where she got that whole concept from. And also I liked the little dance break she did in the woods, but everything was a little too dark and creepy for my taste. I didn't think the video fit the song, but I do think the song is a pop hit in my book. Now moving on, let's talk about Jussie Smollett. The Empire actor Jussie Smollett was recently sentenced to 150 days in prison and 30 months of probation for staging a hate crime. Now, I'm sure a lot of y'all are already aware of this very wild story. A few years ago, Jussie claimed that two white MAGA supporters attacked him in the middle of the night in Chicago in below zero weather, and he claimed that these men called him racial and homophobic slurs, tied a noose around his neck. I mean, it was a whole crazy story. Come to find out, Jussie hired two people to attack him, and these people weren't white MAGA supporters. They were black African brothers, and they said that Jussie put them up to it and paid them money to do this. Now, when they confessed and said that Jussie was the one who staged this whole attack, the Chicago PD was absolutely furious. Now, Jussie almost got away with this. In fact, the state attorney Kim Foxx had his record cleared. However, the Chicago PD brought this case back up because they weren't satisfied with the fact that Jussie played them. They said, nah, you are going to be punished for making us look like a fool in front of the whole country. So they opened the trial again, and Jussie was found guilty on 5 out of 6 counts of disorderly conduct. And now Jussie is facing 5 months in jail. And he's going to be doing 30 months probation. I mean, the man is doing time over something that could have honestly been avoided. I mean, really. He wanted to be a social justice warrior. He wanted his name to go to new heights over this whole victim act, and it just backfired. I mean, he should have never done this. But Jussie refused to take the L. He still claimed to the very end that he is innocent, but sadly, we know that isn't true because there's too much evidence saying otherwise. But if Jussie admitted that he lied, honestly, I would have forgiven him. I think think Jussie would have been able to redeem himself, because if he admitted that he lied, he could have gone on an apology tour and explained why he did what he did. He could have came out with a book. He could have done a whole Netflix documentary. He could have even claimed that he was suffering from mental illness. I mean, we all would have understood, and we still would have given him a pass. I know I would, but Jussie refused to let it go. And that's why things ended up the way it did for him. Now, I will say the thing that disturbed me a lot about this sentencing is what Jussie said at the end. He kept saying over and over that he's not suicidal. I can't say the word because YouTube is sensitive, but he kept saying that over and over. And he said that if something happens to him in prison, he's not the one who did it to himself. And I thought this was a little unsettling, because it's clear that he's a little unhinged, and it seems like he would actually harm himself, but he wants people to believe ahead of time that somebody else is going to harm him. So I was a little unsettled when I heard him say that. I hope that he is being monitored, and I hope that he's being put in protective custody, because I don't want him to harm himself. I don't want him to be around other people who would harm him. So I hope he's being protected in a way, because a part of me still has some concern for Jussie. I know he's a liar. I know he's a scammer. I know he's a clout chasing buffoon. I know he's a little crazy, but a part of me feels bad for him as well. So I hope he's being watched over, because I don't want anything bad to happen to him for real. Now, moving on, I want to talk about Keyshia Cole. Recently on Keyshia's episode of Uncensored, she talked about why her friendship with the rapper Eve ended, and she gave a very interesting explanation. Listen to this.
It took a long time to learn to not put my hands on people. You know what I'm saying? It was a thing that happened with Eve that, we walking out and somebody grabbed her bag or something like that, and I just kind of turned around and slapped the girl. It's like, girl, what is you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, period. Like, back up, And Eve was really pissed off about that. Like, we stopped hanging out. Like, she was like, I can't hang with Keyshia. Like, she can't be slapping people. I was like, wait, I'll slap somebody for you. What the is this? But then it taught me a lot, too, later, too, because, even being who I am today, because she gets sued, too. You know what I'm saying? Me being a part of her crew, walking out the club, but I just, I should have left that to security. Somebody gets paid for that, you know what I mean?
Now, when I heard this, I thought it was pretty funny, because I could totally picture something like this happening. Keyshia was a little rough around the edges back in the earlier days, so it doesn't surprise me that she was slapping people and fighting. But I can honestly understand why Eve was mad at her and grew distant from her. I mean, it's obvious that she wasn't trying to catch a lawsuit over Keyshia, but also Eve was at a place in her life where she started to be more mindful of the company she kept. And this is a very important lesson. A lot of times when you're going up and elevating in life, you can't take certain people with you, and you can't hang around with a certain crowd. And this is something Eve herself had to learn, because for a long time she was around people who weren't good for her. She was in a very toxic relationship with Stevie J. In fact, her relationship with Stevie was so bad that she was depressed, she was having panic attacks, and she was drinking a lot. I mean, she was drinking a lot. So she went through some things, and Eve got to a point where she felt like she needed to cut some people off from her circle. And she said it wasn't an easy process for her at first, but she realized that a lot of the people she was around weren't serving her, and she had to cut them off.
Me not being true to myself, not taking care of myself, not listening to myself. I think the people that I had with me at that time on tour just weren't good for me, and I was struggling to let them go. I just didn't have great people around me at the time. Besides my management, all of them were great. They actually were the ones that was like, you need to kick them off your bus. But of course I was like, nah, these are my people. Like, you can't talk to them. Like, these are my people. Like, they love me. And there was a lot. It was a lot that I needed to let go of, that I just wasn't ready to let go of. But literally every day I would have a panic attack. I definitely had to grow up, and it was my first lesson on shedding people, shedding things that just didn't serve you anymore. Because I'd never seen that in my life. So it was my first lesson in this is your path, your dream. Not everybody belongs on the same path with you. And that's a hard realization when these are your homies, these are your people, this is your sister, this is your brother. You cry together, you hung out together, you've known each other for 100 years. And yeah, for me, it was hard. Like, damn near all my friends were like, they all were like, you changed. I'm like, did I know? I thought we were growing together, and we just weren't.
So as you can see, Eve had to go through the process of cutting her own friends off because she realized that she was going in a different direction. She was elevating. So she had to move away from people who weren't elevating with her. And this is one of the reasons why I feel like she cut Keyshia off. It wasn't just because of a potential lawsuit she would get from hanging with Keyshia, but it was also because Keyshia still had a lot of growing to do. She was still fighting, and I think Eve saw that and she didn't want to be around that. And I can't really blame Eve because Eve was at a different point in her life where she couldn't be surrounded by that. And also, she had a brand to protect. So she couldn't afford to be getting in trouble over Keyshia's actions. And it's unfortunate that she and Keyshia never repaired their friendship, but I think it was a learning lesson for them both, especially Keyshia. Keyshia had to learn that she couldn't move a certain way, and she had to keep her hands to herself. Anyway, tell what you all think about this video down below. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video if you care. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.